All right. Welcome to Table Talk, where we talk all things tabletop. I'm your host, The Bella Gamer, and I'm joined by my co-host, Glue Boy.
Hello, it's me.
And you're not sick, or
I
at least
have
like
a sinus
80%.
infection. So that's about it. So
That's the
I just,
healthiest you've been been in a
yes,
month.
I'll say I feel completely fine. I don't completely sound it, but like health-wise, I'm completely good. It's just I'm very congested, definite like actual like sinus issues going on, but I just gotta wait for it to pass. But other than that, I'm good. I'm feeling healthy. I've been productive because I finally have energy. It's great.
It's better than last week, where you started off with, "I don't know what it feels like not to be sick anymore."
I I still I kind of feel it still. I just like I want to
Yeah.
feel completely normal.
Well, I have a new cat.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Just been spending the day with our new cat Bean. Uh our other cat is very angry with me.
I can imagine Celeste is not a big fan.
She's not a very big fan. I mean, they
Hopefully,
kind of like sniffed each other because
that's
like
pretty
we set
big.
them down in the carrier, and she's very very tense, but she, sniffing around. And then I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm gonna go let him be free in the bedroom. And now every time I come out of the bedroom, she growls and gets underneath this desk we have,
Ooh.
and she hides. So she's somewhat angry, and hopefully that changes because we got him for her. So
Yeah, because I Celeste is very like playful and wants a lot of attention. So if there's something there to get some of that energy out in a good way, that's just good.
and she's like showed that she's interested in other cats just outside. So, I think it'll just take an adjustment period.
Yeah, like any cat. I mean, the only exception to that, to be honest, is my cat, who every single cat that they meet is faced with outright hostility, no matter where it's from. If it is from like they're in that cat's territory, vice versa, or if it's cat outside. My cat, she's so sweet, but like goddamn, I think she basically did like a cat war crime once. Like actually a good number because she does that that roll over on your back like I'm submissive. She was doing that to a cat at our back porch like through the glass door, and then while she was like on her back, immediately like jumped up and attacked the window. And
Yeah.
faking surrendering is a war crime, so pretty fucked up with my cat. So I cannot have another cat in the home. Another dog, she's very okay with. It's just no cats.
That's so strange.
She hates them. It is. Well, we had other cats. She had one cat that in our home before that she kind of got used to. Like she would play with them, and then they got another cat, a kitten, who endlessly harassed Ripley, like would not leave her alone. And so I think ever since then it's been a nope. I hate all cats. Because now, ever since then, she's been like outwardly hostile.
Yeah. Bean's been such a different cat. When Celeste came, she was petrified. She was frozen with fear. She just sat in her box and was so scared. And then it took like 30 minutes for her to leave the box and scurry under the bed.
Ooh.
And then it took weeks for me just being in the room and chilling and having her like eventually like come out and check and relax. Eventually she got used to it, but it took a long time. This Bean, we just got out and started playing, and He was cuddling up with me, and I took a nap in the room, and he was sleeping with me, and it was good.
Yeah, just a damn pretty chill cat personality then.
Yeah. A little wild. He's a little kitten, but... So,
Yeah,
that's
that's to
been
be
my
expected.
day.
Meanwhile, I did something pretty big for my channel.
Oh,
I
yeah,
I
you got a
just sent
sponsorship.
off I just sent off my first draft for an actual ad, like a paid sponsorship for my channel. And I hope that it gets accepted because editing it was very annoying. Not a fan. I don't like the style of doing the whole like mobile game ad. It's very lame because it's a lot of like popping text on screen and talking about a game that I'm not really like into.
Yeah.
I also, admittedly, I just don't like mobile games. I only play Marvel Snap. That's the only mobile game I've actually enjoyed. I just don't need mobile games on my phone. If I've never been in a situation where I need to sit down at my like not at my desk. Like I'll just play it on my desk or have my Switch. I don't need a mobile game. Yeah, I've finally sold out. I'm very happy to sell out, by the way. I'll do it immediately, but I will grumble in the background.
Hope you are well. If it's convenient, can Physic be a good support class in Pathfinder 2E?
Assume that's
I
psychic.
Is it Psychic?
Probably.
Oh, if it's Psychic, then yeah. There's literally one of its subconsciouses that are specifically designed for like being really good as support. I mean, it's a spellcaster. Like, that's the beauty of spellcasters, is they can do anything besides single target damage.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't need a strong single target damaging character, it is perfectly good. Yeah, Amped Guidance is amazing. I love their it's the I think it's the Infinite Eye. That is the Infinite Eye, is that one. No, it's Silent Whisper. Silent Whisper's so good because you get the amped message cantrip, which allows you to essentially have an ally make a reaction to either step or stride.
Oh.
Very, very handy. So yeah, totally. It's you could play a really good like mastermind style psychic that helps move allies or benefit them in some way. There's also a subconscious mind that is like for healing, I believe. Emotional acceptance, yeah. So, yeah, totally.
I would imagine. I also am still realizing I know too little about Psychic, despite the fact I feel like I would adore that class.
I think you would really like psychic. I think the one that allows you to manipulate a weapon, tangible dream. No, not yeah, imaginary weapon. Yeah, I think you'd really like that one.
It's like such a specific vibe. I could hit it in anima, but God, like I just want a game. I want like a video game or something where I can play a psychic that is using a weapon psychically. Like full on, just I'm utilizing this, but I'm using full telekinesis. It's so cool. That's all I want. There's nothing.
Made an elf inventory. Interesting. And took the heritage that gives me multi-class fee at level 1 to pick up the guidance cantrip. Elf inventor, I'm assuming. That actually does sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm working on the build I have for tomorrow.
Ooh.
Is I have it as Moonlit Hunter, but essentially it's just you're a ranger who's just constantly mounted, and your whole playstyle is run away and shoot enemy.
Nice.
Never be within reach. Just because you can command your animal companion and it gets 2 actions. So when you're riding your
Yeah.
animal companion, it can move twice, and there's some of them that get like a 45 movement speed.
Yeah,
So
I think it works. Like it makes sense if you want to play that really hypermobile playstyle. Like that is the method to do it.
and then I multi-class into Cavalier, because Cavalier has Cavalier's charge, which is funny because you don't charge with it. Instead, what you do is you command your animal companion to move twice, and then you can strike. And if it's you can strike with a melee weapon or a ranged weapon's first increment. And when you do, you get a +1 to the attack roll. And so the whole playstyle is pretty much you're using a crossbow, and then you eventually go into a gun. And
Nice.
you just Cavalier's charge, move twice out of range, shoot the enemy, get that +1. If you're using a gun, you get a high chance of getting that fatal because of that +1. And then you reload your weapon. And then every round, no enemy can catch you.
Damn, sounds cool.
It's a playstyle that's very slow, meticulous, but incredibly safe.
Yeah, if you really want to play like a squishy ranger.
And going gunslinger into it is super fun because it allows you to easily get way of the sniper. And you're a ranger, and I took gravity weapon early. So, like, you only shoot once per round, but you do massive damage because your precision. If you take way of the sniper on the first round of combat, you do an additional precision die of damage. You take gravity weapon so that you do twice your weapon damage and extra damage. And yeah, you don't hit a lot, but you do hit once per round, and it hurts a massive amount. And you get a big bonus to hit because of Cavalier's charge.
The part of that sounds fun too is the main thing of depending on how ham your DM goes for like battle maps and just general battle situations, you can get up to some great shenanigans with that massive movement speed.
Oh, funnest part is dwarves have really good mounts, actually.
Really?
Yes. There's the Ogdenar, which is one of my favorites. It's a really slow mount, it has a 25 movement speed, so it's as fast as a normal person, but slow for mounts. But one of its best features is its support benefit, which allows you to draw a weapon or interact to draw an item from a pack that's carrying. So as a part of your command an animal, it lets you draw a weapon.
That is handy.
Yep. Which is really nice. So it can move and do that for you pretty much on your turn. The other one is the goat, which is like it's funny that they didn't name it anything else.
Just the goat.
It's just goat. It's just a goat. But it's really fun because essentially what it does is it's faster. It has a 35-foot speed, but it has a 15-foot climb speed because it's a goat.
I see. Yeah.
So you climb shit on your goat and shoot people with guns. It's really great.
That's great.
I love it, and plus it's really good for that safe play style because its melee attack is one of the few animal companions that has a trait other than like agile. It has shove, so it can shove enemies more easily depending, and its advanced maneuver is it just pushes an enemy back without it has to successfully hit with its headbutt, but then it pushes the enemy back 5 or 10 feet if the strike was a critical hit. So if you're in a bad situation, it can just be like meh, pff, hit an enemy away from you, and then you can run away.
I really I like your build videos specifically for just hearing concepts for characters. Like, I would have never come up with this.
I tried to come up with fun, interesting playstyles that blend well with a playstyle in the game already. And Ranger already has a really good like boom reload kind of playstyle with precision.
Their damage output is goofy.
Yeah, I promise people, they probably have the best DPR in the game.
I've seen it in person and I've heard it fully explained to me. Yes, I feel the same.
But so like I try to work around that while also doing a style that people don't typically think of, and also leaving it up to like a lot of personal choice. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that characters can be played, and so yeah, a support psychic can be really good. Eventually, when I come back around to psychic, I might do something like that. Any other biz you've been up to lately?
Not really. It's just now that I'm like fine, I'm back to the video grind, and it's been pretty cool. Other than that, I'm just prepping for a trip I'm gonna be taking.
Oh
Which fuck,
yeah,
I think I've told you this already.
you
Like
mentioned
my
it
schedule.
before.
Because I will miss I'll I'm sitting here considering it because another one popped up that I might have to miss 2 table talks in a row because I get back like on Thursday, like Thursday night. I fly back into Washington. And then the week after, the soonest I could schedule it, my cat's having surgery on November 9th because they have teeth issues, and that is the earliest I can get them in. And I pick them up either right before or halfway through Table Talk. The
Oof.
range I was given was 3 to 5.
Oof.
Yeah, so it's also a situation of like, on one hand, I'm like, I could probably still do it if like the chance it's earlier. On the other hand, probably should make sure she's good. Because I don't know
And
how
which
intensive it's gonna get.
one were you missing?
It's going to be for sure missing on
The
November
26th?
2nd. November 2nd.
November 2nd. Okay. I thought you were missing sometime in October.
The just no the right at the end. Because I'm out of town on Saturday the 28th.
Oh, it's the Saturday game. Okay, that's
Yeah,
the
I'm
one I'm
missing
thinking
Saturday
of.
game.
I thought it was something
I'm
else too.
missing then the one on Halloween, whatever game we'd be doing if we would be playing.
Yeah. Uh, sucks that I wasn't feeling good this Tuesday. We were gonna start Vampire.
Yeah, it's like I was excited, but then when it's like I'm sick, I want to lay down. It's like, oh God, yeah, rest. Do not have this, please, Cam.
Nah,
Don't feel
yeah,
my pain.
I think my sleeping schedule is just a little whack. So, and I get ill when I get very fatigued. So,
That's fair. Glad
feeling
it
better.
hasn't continued. So
Yeah. But my sleeping schedule has still been kind of trash, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I always know that like something sleep-wise is gonna happen when I wake up and I see people still in the call after as I go to bed and when I get up for work. Which has happened a good few times. I wake up, I'm heading to work at 9, I look over at my computer and I see you guys still in a call.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so hard for me to be up during the early parts of the day now. Even when I went to bed at like 9 last night, I only got like 5 hours of sleep. I needed to take a nap. I'm still a
Oof.
bit tired, so I'm probably gonna go to bed at the same time again and hopefully sleep, because I need to be awake during the mornings. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, I've long since made my bed that I have to just be awake in the morning. I miss the days where I would just be up to like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's more convenient for my schedule in like almost every way. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
Remaster. Let's talk about Remaster a little bit. We've been getting some tidbits here and there about the Remaster, and I am somewhat privy to some of the new
Ooh.
stuff. And I just, it's going to come up again. We're going to talk about it because the first remaster core is coming out next month. We're getting the player core 1 and the GM core, and the bestiary core is coming out shortly after, I believe. Let's see. Still waiting on Paizo to update their website. One day.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's why
Oh
I'm
no, so
hoping
it's just
maybe.
player core. GM core comes out February. Oh, the P. Interesting. Oh no, that's Pocket Edition. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, GM core and player core come out in in November, and then the bestiary Monster Core 1 comes out in March.
Man, I assume there's a very good reason why the release schedule is like this. The remaster release schedule is kind of weird with
Yeah,
how
I
staggered it
agree.
is.
Uh the only thing is it's just probably production,
Yeah,
printing a
like
bunch of books.
it's like we mentioned a bunch last week. Just printing and publishing books is a lot of work and a lot of money. So it's like there's 100% a great reason why it's like this. Like internal, I assume if they could, it would be released all at once. If they actually could feasibly do that. Still, it's just like this is a little weird. Some stuff's kind of just spaced out.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess the weirdest part yet is, are they just gonna release new monster cores for all the monster cores with revisions of monsters we currently already have, or is it just this one book?
Yeah.
Because I know they want to do at least one book, because they're just removing the dragons and they're putting in new dragons. So that's a big part of it, and also just like some other stuff. But I don't know what they're gonna do with the next bestiaries, because they're naming it Bestiary Core, which, or Monster Core, my bad. So I don't know like what that means,
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it's gearing up to like I guess release more supplemental bestiaries, but also like makes me wonder because of how they're doing the classes as well. There are a lot of monsters in Pathfinder at this point. Like, is it just not every single monster is going to have remaster stuff? Which then is like
Well,
a worry for monsters that might not fully are compatible. Which also it's completely backwards compatible anyways. So,
yeah. So
eh,
that's the thing, right? Is
yeah, the stuff that's like dealing with alignment is the parts where I worry.
most everything. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have a chat about it today, and we'll have a chat about it sometime next month, because the new stuff is releasing halfway through November, is kind of just helping people understand it is not a new game.
No.
It's going to operate mostly the same, though there is a class that's getting a complete rework, which is Witch. And Wizard, I guess, also is technically also getting a full rework because there's no longer spell schools. So that's all being reworked, and those two are in Core 1. Most everything else could just be put into an errata and would do the same thing. Like, the cleric changes where cleric can now get up, war priest gets up to master proficiency. Like, that's a change that happens at level 19. So, like, the war priest is not going to be changed all too much. Cleric's other big change is now the number of free heal spells they have is just based on a flat, I think, 4. So no longer do you need to worry about investing in charisma as well when you're making your cleric. Because it used to
Fair.
be charisma +1. Now it's just 4, I believe.
That makes more
So
sense.
yeah, I mean it does. There's a lot of things that I feel like people are overestimating what, like, the Ranger stuff came out recently. Yeah, they also will have, like, a lot of classes will be getting some new feats. I know the fighter is losing open on a lot of the feats they had. So there might be some small, like, changes in how some of the feats work because of how the algorithm balanced it that they created for it. Yeah, so the first book, Core 1, or Player Core 1, is going to have Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Ranger, Rogue, Witch, and Wizard. And from what I know, Bard is relatively the same, Druid is relatively the same, Fighter is relatively the same, and Rogue is mostly the same.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like they're in pretty decent state right now. Like, you don't really need to remaster them or do any major tune-ups.
So, it's a lot of it is just they've done some erratas and they've kind of tweaked the game a lot of it. So you could look at this more as just like this is a big patch for the game.
Yeah, it's like one big bulky errata and legal maneuver at the same time.
It might be also press. I'm not 100% sure, Andrew, but yeah, open and press. I know open for sure. I haven't heard anything about press, but open for sure is being removed, which is not a huge thing, honestly. And on a balance perspective, even then, it's not a super huge thing. It's not like they had any super huge hitting abilities that were held back by open, So it's mostly going to be the same, and that's completely fine. I've been implementing Remaster speak into a lot of my videos. Now I talk about Off Guard, and I talk about Void and Vitality versus positive and negative damage.
The off guard is still going to take me some time to get used to.
The benefit of having a channel based on Pathfinder, I say it all the time now, so now I'll be a lot more easy for me to mention it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still a lot of issues. No, why would they be doing away with Warrior Muse? Unless it's something I've not heard of, but pretty sure Bard is mostly the same.
I mean, Bard just doesn't seem like it needs any, like, major touch-up, to be honest.
Ah, I see. So
Oh,
Bard's
so
getting
it's
martial proficiency built in. Warrior
yeah,
Muse
it's
is getting
just
a change
changing.
for it.
Okay,
So
fair enough, I guess.
yeah, I mean that's kind of like that's one of the things I'm super glad they're doing away with is a lot of weird weapon proficiencies. A lot of classes had, like Rogue being a martial
Yeah,
class, not having martial weapon proficiency is actually kind of nuts.
I forget that because it's weird.
Yeah. So classes now predominantly just have martial proficiency or don't.
Yeah, I like that. I like that change.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Warrior Muse still has a lot of other things it does. So I don't think they would remove it. It's still predominantly the martial bard playstyle, even with that change. So yeah, there is not a lot changing. And I mean, good asking questions, Andrew, because that's what I'm essentially here for today, talking about that. And also just talking about, now that we're getting closer, just concerns, because there's also the fact that it's like some classes are just kind of having some of their features broken. And while most of them have easy enough fixes, there's still some things. There's also like archetypes that are gonna break because of some of their stuff. It's mostly just the removing of spell schools. Alignment as well, but like alignment can be justified by just implementing doctrines, you know? But the spell school stuff becomes a lot more difficult. So
That's the one I'm very curious exactly how it'll play out. I'm not worried on like how it'll impact the game. I think like in the end it's gonna turn out fine. I trust the Paizo devs, but like I'm so curious for Wizard. I'm really interested as I'm playing a Wizard. It's gonna be kind of fun next chance I play William to have like a completely different kit, or not kit, I guess, just like different sheet. I have to change a lot for the character.
yeah, the thing I'm interested in, I don't know if it's been answered yet. I've been kind of all over the place, but no, I think it was answered, and I think I heard it before, but I can't remember what was done. I'm just curious about the school spells, like your evocation school spell,
Yeah,
because it's a good one. I like Force Bolt. I think it's very handy.
it's come up like in interesting ways. I do forget how useful it is sometimes.
Yeah, but that's like that's the thing, right? Is just waiting for those prints or the erratas to come out to fix some of the stuff, because like I'm always baffled. Everyone always gets on my case about the spell school stuff, but like spell schools were baked into class features, or not class features, archetype features predominantly.
And you would know, Mr. Archetype guy. You're the one
Yeah,
go reading through every single one.
and removing them, the only ones that it doesn't affect are illusions, because illusion spells will still have the illusion trait.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's a lot of stuff. There's even some classes like the Fey Eidolon gives you access to arcane spells that are both enchantment and illusion. So there's just a lot of general features. I'm just baffled they removed it, because it changes a significant number of things and completely break some of the archetypes. And you could always say, but you could just use the old rules then. And it's like, well, yeah, but then what about new spells that come out? There's just a bunch of stuff that it's something that blew my mind that they would go that far. But it's not like I'm overly tied to it, but my complaint is purely mechanical. I understand why they did. Everyone's just like, they needed to for blah blah blah. It's like, no, they could have just used synonyms, break out a dictionary.
Yeah, it's the one where I'm like, I don't see how exactly necessary this was, because yeah, they could have just like, honestly, it was the idea I had was like, oh, they're changing spell schools. Okay, well, what if instead of like having the spell schools be the spell type, what if you just literally named the university you went to? Like, give each one a specific, like, there's just colleges that specialize in this type of magic. So it's like, okay, yeah, you went to this university, you went to this one. Give it like some extra lore flavor stuff, like you can re-texture some things, but fundamentally still the exact same thing.
Well, I mean, I think that's fine. Like, again, this is spell schools and spell schools because two things are named the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
talking the categories,
No,
not
that's what I
the.
mean. Like with the categories. When I first heard it, I was like, yeah, if you're just trying to do legal changes, isn't that the first idea? Just have that be the new category stuff. But or even just make it like just synonym for tag. Just do what the illusion's keeping. I don't know. I'm I just want to read it. That's the one where I'm like, just give us more info, because that one's changing a lot, and I really need to know how.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is for Player Core 1, they're just saying, it's not like the spell lists are changing, right?
No.
Arcane spells will still have access to so much or whatever. In fact, they're probably going to take this opportunity to bolster some of the other traditions without having Arcane like take everything up, because you don't have the mastery from wizards needing things all the time now. But it's like for the core, it's gonna work just fine, because the thing is like essentially wizards just getting this feature of, it's like, all right, your character, you get a theme for your spell school, so pick types of spells and go. That's it.
Yeah.
And Divine, yes, I agree. Divine, I think the Divine will be getting a bunch of stuff this next year, so
I
looking
hope
forward to
so.
that. We've literally had something for every tradition but Divine at this point, so I think Divine's due.
Divine is very much due.
But yeah, there's, oh no, it's I don't have. It's like I don't mind what has changed. Honestly, I think it's fun that wizards go to like, school of construction or whatever, and they get all spells based on creating objects. I think that's fun. I think that's really neat. But that doesn't change how like Captivator works, where it's like specifically enchantments, illusion spells. And if you come at me and be like, well, just do the same thing as the School of Befuddlement or whatever. It's like, Alex, do you know the definition of befuddle?
Oh,
Yeah,
confused.
to
Like what I
confuse
am pretty
enemies.
often when you say weird words.
Because that's literally, it's like, they specialize in spells that befuddle the minds. That's what the School of Befuddlement focuses on. And
Yeah.
it's like, do the same thing with Captivator. It's like that just creates a lot of work. No, don't get me wrong, Dead Phoenix. I think it's a good idea, but it's something that in the case of like Captivator makes less sense, right? Because Wizard is just like the bonus spells you get every level that you get a free spell slot for. Essentially, just pick on theme, and even if you don't pick on theme, right, it'll still work. It's not really a big deal. It's just what the extra spell slot is on your spell list. I think construction is one of the coolest things wizards get to do, honestly, because there's a lot of fun things you can make in the game. But
Just conceptually, it sounds cool.
it's a lot more of a tedious thing when you look at Captivator and you're like, all right, tell me, GM, does this spell work? Can I take this spell? GM, does this spell work? Can I take this spell? Because, well, you could argue that it doesn't matter what the bonus spell slot that wizard gets is, because they have other spell slots they could just take different spells with. For Captivator, like, the balancing point for its features, because it gets really cool spell interactions, is it's limited to certain spell schools. So, yeah, I don't know. I love Captivator. It's one of my favorites. But, you know, it's... We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what Paizo does. Or it might just be something that remains forever broken because they're working on other stuff.
Yeah, who knows? I lean more towards, like, in play, it's gonna be fine. Or you can figure out some method of, like, having it be easier, or just kind of, I don't know, giving extra work to your DMs. Some DMs would be very okay with it. Some DMs would be like, okay, yeah, let me work through your spell list. Let me tell you which spells wouldn't work. Like, they can work with it. Or some players will have the situation of like, hey, DM, are these spells good? And then the DM looks and like, yep, they're all fine. Like, yep, you picked well. You picked well within the bounds of it. You understand what you're taught, like what's going on. Some tables might struggle with it. Who knows? I do think that having just like a tag to be like, even if there's a rule, it's like, yeah, you can kind of, here's some wiggle room, that we've introduced wiggle room, but also like, if you don't want to deal with it, here's a bunch of tables that tell you which each one is.
Yeah, the dedication is level 4 for very much little reason. The only thing is it gets you, I think, an expert proficiency or something like that. Which is something they've done for level 2 dedication feats before anyway, so... It's very, very strange. Honestly, I just let my players select it at level 2. It's not powerful enough to worry about it.
Kind of a deal with some other dedications, to be honest.
It's there's a lot of things with the remaster that is going to be generally fine, despite all this talk about spell schools. It's like that's like the only thing, right? Everything else is
literally it's like the other ones I can say is like the lowest other bit. Like, number one, I worry about spell schools. I trust Paizo, still worried. The only other thing I could possibly say I don't like about the remaster is I prefer flat-footed, as like to say. Off guard, I don't know. There's very different mouthfeel. I like saying flat-footed more.
Yeah.
But that's a pure me thing, because other people I've read the comments of like reading why they prefer off guard, and it's like that's very understandable, because my issue is purely it's the one I remember, the one I've said the most, and I like saying it more. So it's like not even a rules complaint. It's a me thing. That's
I
it.
I don't know. For me, flat-footed always just made more sense, because it's legitimately when you're fighting, flat-footed is a thing that happens. It means you're not ready to move in a moment's notice. Like when you see professional boxers and they always like dance on their toes. If they were to go straight on the floor flat-footed, they would be much easier to hit, which is why it's called that way. So, I don't know. Every time I hear people talk about why they prefer flat-footed or why they prefer off-guard over flat-footed, it always just seems like a lot of cope. I mean, but at the same time, I really don't care.
Because at the end of the day, it's like it's which word do you prefer to say that both mean the same thing, and a lot of tables are like the situation that's going to happen is, all right, I make the enemy flat-footed. You mean off guard? Yeah, sure. They get a -2 to their AC. It's like a immediate hand wave, like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't actually matter.
Well, what are your questions, Andrew? I might be able to answer some of them. If it's master proficiency, they get it at level 19. And Tiefling has all the same feats, only a few more now, because like the prehensile tail stuff got baked into pretty much everything.
Hell yeah, feed. I don't even need to take. I haven't taken it, but I just get it. Dope.
No. You still feat.
No.
It's just like any like alignment / elemental based heritage gets access to that feat now, the tricky tail or whatever feat line. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm very excited for Tiefling change. I think especially if it's just I'm getting more extra fun toys to play with, I'm into it.
yeah, they're just kind of blending a lot of stuff together because everything's being baked into the Nephilim. Is there a Hellfire aura for the Tiefling?
Oh, that's a great question. I do need that in my life.
Hellfire aura. Do they have one already?
If I saw it on my sheet, I would have it already. But I don't know.
Maybe because if I think the Azamar have a similar feat. I mean, probably, honestly. Because the Ember can have a lot of similar feats. If an Asamar has it, then a Century Tiefling will have it as well. So, and as far as what are the changes, I mean, you have edicts rather than alignment requirements, which you just which actually already exist in the game. Okay, so this a lot of stuff I can answer. As far as like cleric changes, what changes for the class? The big thing is War Priest is getting a little bit changing, but like it's functioning going to be the same, except now they get master proficiency at level 19. There are some feats that we don't know about that are going to make it easier for like War Priest to get heavy armor proficiency and all that kind of stuff. So we're expecting more martial feats being baked into cleric. And I don't know what they're going to do for Cloistered to match, if anything. I don't think they really need to because they get legendary spell proficiency when Cloistered doesn't. Yeah, no. If you're expecting a new feat, not to be expected in this. So there might be something coming out in when the new classes come out. The Holy Unholy. So Holy Unholy is our special traits that are being added to some features and spells that affect the opposites. So a lot of Devilkin in some form or fashion will have the Unholy tag or traits, and a lot of cleric features will gain Holy, which will do extra damage to unholy things. The Sanctified and Unsanctified, I'm assuming... I not expect a class feature to become an ancestry feat unless it comes into a much higher level. Well, that's not what he's saying, Dead Phoenix. I think he's more saying he's just looking for some kind of fire aura. In which case, I mean, I guess unless you're looking for an unholy fire aura, which would be cool. But the best thing you're gonna do is probably just multi-class archetype into kineticist and go fire, and then they have a bunch
Though,
of fire aura stuff. So
I mean, on the contrary, why would you not want it to be Hellfire or Unholy Fire? Because just regular Elemental Fire, kind of boring. Hellfire, like, burn and hit different in a cooler way.
I mean, sure, that's just not what the remaster is about.
It should be. Controversial opinion.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like I said, maybe with some of the ASMR changes.
I will have questions for if we ever get to interview full-on Paizo developers. That gets to go in the question. Why isn't the remaster centered around me getting more Hellfire and demon abilities?
Would be very interesting if Ancestries could give your character holy, unholy, or sanctified and unsanctified. That'd be kind of
That'd
fun.
be cool.
Be really kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just we don't know anything specific on feats. We just know general features. The biggest thing to look for is if there's a ASMR feat, you could probably select it for a tiefling based character because they're being baked together with Nephilim. So, which I think is actually kind of cool.
Least, I really like, because that is just kind of opening it up to having multiple more aspects, and kind of, if you're just kind of baking these two things together, then there's probably some very cool ASMR feats that tieflings can now have. They're remaking their character, and vice versa.
I'm
Just
waiting.
Cool stuff where you're like, oh, that flavors it so well.
I'm waiting for the characters who are half angel, half devil. It's
Can't wait
coming.
to play it. I wouldn't do that. That's a little too edgy even for me. I just want my demons.
Yeah, of course, as does it. Aphrodite, Gonzi, and are being baked into it as well. And then there are also some feats being shared with the Geniekin, essentially. But yeah, with Nephilim becoming a thing, half angel, half devil characters are coming out. Paizo's making half angel, half devil characters essentially a thing.
My light side is fighting with my dark side. I'm sorry. It's like that. I can't wait for those edgelord characters.
They're so coming. I can't wait to see the hundreds of build videos of character art of just a character with black and white wing. It's
the full on like anime pro tag, the hair going over, one hand covering the eye and it's shining through, like that full character art. I can't wait.
Full Chumbia, yeah. It's gonna be fun. What are you talking about? People don't make Pathfinder 2 build videos. No, but see, the edgelords now have a huge reason to, because they can finally justify their half angel, half devil characters.
Well, the other thing, Cam, is now you need to make them. You need to give them content.
True. Instant winner right there.
Just make a very edgy build. You could even make it, if you wanted to, a full joke, call it the edgy build. And just like go deep into that.
April Fools of Angle and Devil, and it's just they're both spelled wrong.
Be fun.
You know, they never stopped them before. I mean, kind of. But now, like, it's just gonna be more of a justifiable thing. But yeah. But you know what is coming? I'm gonna be very busy. Because I'm essentially gonna have to redo all the class videos after the remaster. Even though
for reviews,
so little changes, anyone new coming to the game is gonna see at some point there's remaster videos, and they're just gonna go click those instead of the old ones.
Yeah, exactly. And also just the other bit is now you're gonna have views that come in like they watch your first class video and then they're like, "What? There's a remaster? Fuck, I gotta watch that one now."
Yep.
Yes, I mean,
Literally, just putting remaster in my title of class videos is going to instantly make them much more clickable.
beautiful.
Kind of. I have to make a bunch of class videos again for the same things. Though some of them will have legitimate reasons.
The like wizard and witch, yeah.
Wizard, Witch, some other potentials. Alchemist is going to get some changes from what I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There are some very legitimate, and to be honest, some of my class videos did very, very poorly. I recently went through all the classes on like an incognito tab, and most of my classes are in the top 10, give or take. They were much higher before, but a bunch of people have stepped into the space
Ah.
and made class videos who just have way more subs. So, you know, but just repost the same video with the text. Yeah. No, unfortunately, I can't because there's just some things that are different. Plus, like some of the videos just need to be redone because I did them way at the beginning and my formula is much better now. So,
Yeah, me to some of my old 40K videos. I can't wait to remake most of them.
that's
God, they're rough.
That's cool, Andrew. The Seething Witch Hunter, I think, is legitimately a super fun character idea for a build. Just a character who just, the second a mage comes on the field, they just instantly get stronger.
Yeah. Fuck magic. I feel that.
It's really fun, and because you're playing a style barbarian that's not like super optimal for rage damage, you can do other non-barbarian things with it. It's actually kind of freeing. Go give Drehen Begin Downloads series Hero Flux some traffic. I've never heard of this channel before. I'm just gonna type in Drehen. Nope, that was not enough. Why is there so many things called Drehen? Wait, what?
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. I just also did a quick search. Seeing, because like I'm also just behind on tabletop content creators. I don't watch tabletop content at all.
Can't find this content creator. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That is a rough deal as a YouTuber of like if you try to search someone's channel, you like legit can't find it.
I'm typing the name as you wrote it, and I'm not finding him. Ratchet and Clank. D&D. Are you talking about the unknown, the known unknown? Or, oh, begin download. Okay. Oh, you spelled his name wrong.
Oh no, his at is that. Like it is.
No,
just
it's not. It's not spelled the
Oh,
same way.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Here's the actual one for people in the chat who
Oh
are
yeah, this
curious.
is this is definitely a much smaller MacGyver character build.
But cool. We'll give him some
Yeah.
traffic. Why not?
Yeah, go a Jimmy Neutron build. Fuck yeah, based.
Yeah, there's an underscore and Drahan is spelled completely different. So, but there it is. We have it. We found it. It took some time. The Ratchet and Clank build helped a lot in helping find it.
King Bradley, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for more people doing build videos. But I'll still be doing build videos just like I'm doing archetype videos. Nonat started doing archetype, did another archetype video again. I think he's running out of content. But to be fair, right now is a very sparse time. Not gonna lie. Because right now he just did the Archer archetype.
I don't like it is like a sad thing when I look sometimes at Pathfinder and I'm like, man, you know, y'all have like Pathfinder gets a lot of rules updates, but even if I were to make rules content for 40K, I feel like I'd have more content. Because like new tournament shit drops constantly. Like every week or so there's new tournament tech stuff that people find, and so there's a friend of the channel that I monitor and talk with who a method he does to get some pretty good success is talking about like the best current meta list for each faction that like based on tournament results and all that, or just the fact that shit gets updated or teased constantly. But also I just have the luxury of so much lore, just like 40-ish years of lore at this point. Been running strong since the 80s, so just gotta do Pathfinder lore, my man. Pivot
yeah, lore is a very, I think, easy step for a lot of games.
It is.
Unfortunately, there's only ever one game I've ever super gotten into the lore of. It's just hard for me to really get into lore for a lot of games. I don't know. But at my release schedule, there's very little competition I have as far as Pathfinder content. I just need a bigger channel so that YouTube is like, oh, this guy's content is important. Let more people see it. Because people like my content. It's not like people don't like the content. Just a lot of times they don't see it.
Yeah, that's the struggle in particular. There's so many just videos that came out like a long ass time ago that get just a lot of views.
I have people all the time hopping onto old videos commenting, thanks so much for this video. I was really looking for this. So, you know, it's not that I make bad content. And that's just the thing with YouTube is rarely is it that you make bad content. It's just that most people don't see your content. And when you're a small channel especially, it's just not the first recommended thing. And then people also have that stigma of they see a channel with like sub 10k or subscribers and they just kind of ignore it out of hand. Because they're like, why would I watch a channel with 3k subs when there's a channel with 50k subs talking about the same stuff? Obviously, the 50k sub is doing better because they have more subs.
Yeah.
It's an unintentional
also,
bias.
Though, at the very least, I like that. I like and dislike that YouTube is really doing some work to promote smaller channels in the algorithm. The problem
totally.
is I get a lot of just gameplay live stream VODs or like just random Let's Play content. And I don't watch Let's Play content at all. So it's like I'd love like small channels based on my actual interests. Like I'd love more video essays, history content, just kind of edutainment stuff, or just weird like streaming stuff. I don't know. It's primarily I listen to just a lot of edutainment and video essays, so I just want smaller ones of those. I get them occasionally, but then it's like for every one video essay with like maybe a couple thousand views, I get a 20 view Let's Play Ace Attorney Part 35.
Yeah. There's a lot of fascinating small ones I find. Also, Torquil Drigluck. Yeah, well, you know what? That's exactly why I make this content. So, and that's the great thing about my content is a lot of it is evergreen. A lot of the stuff I make, if as long as someone types in the name of a specific thing in Pathfinder, they're going to find mostly my videos,
Yeah. If
except for
anyone
like
looks up the
classes.
archetypes, they look up the archetypes, you're there.
Yeah, archetypes. Hell, even build videos now. I'm just slowly getting a monopoly on because there's just not a lot of channels that do a lot of build videos. There are some. Friend of the channel, brain fart. Wisdom check. There it is. I think it was something check. Does a lot of build video content as well. I know McDabbles also does some build stuff, but a lot of people just don't have the same production scale that I do. I'm sure there's a channel called Brain Fart.
Oh, 100%.
Pretty sure. 100%.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
Deep dives into regions, showcasing APs would be really good. I was thinking about doing a like deep dive series on the various APs, and then I was like, oh wait, I have to read these. That's gonna take a lot of time. And I already like one of the things that's benefiting the channel, but it's also like I'm getting a very wide base of content, which is going to be nice for future development, but for right now, the channel's just not building up really fast. It's like when you start a Survivor game and you put down all of the floor tiles of your building first before you start building everything else. Like, it takes a long time, but then when you're done, you just start building up. Because I do Lancer content in addition, and that's doing well. The videos don't do super hot view-wise, but over time, it aggregates more and more. Even to this day, several months into this new trend on my channel, my most recent viewed videos in the last 24 hours are like 50% Lancer content.
I'm so happy that Lancer is consistently doing well on your channel.
Me too. Lancer's really good. I'm actually more happy. Like, the more I do these videos on the different licenses, the happier I get, because it makes me like really want to play Lancer again, which is really fun. But it also just makes me appreciate Lancer more and more with each one of these, because I'm now getting to compare a lot of the mechs with each other and a lot of the licenses, and there's some really really fun stuff. Honestly, some of the licenses they give me ideas for like build paths, how I want to make my pilot, because it's not just like rank every 1 to 3 that you can. That's genuinely not a good idea. You want to get only as much as you need. Lancer is not Battletech now. Lancer is a unique IP from a really great company, Massive Press. They have a very interesting world setting. It's essentially,
Cool.
in my opinion, the best mech-based TTRPG out there. Granted, I'm also not a spreadsheet mech player.
No, me neither. Honestly, one of the best things I can say, like just to promote Lancer, it's what I did. If you really want to get to see if you like this game, just go to CompCon and look through the licenses. I'm in like with some friends of the channel. They're linked in my channel. If you go to Glue Boy, look at the linked ones, you'll find them. I'm in their server. I help run stuff with them. I was in a call because they're all setting up like tabletop content, or not content, tabletop, like for the server, like wanting to do server D&D and other games. And then I'm there in the sidelines, like, guys, there's other games in D&D, but if you played not 5e, and I'm like, I can't join, but I will definitely signal boost these games. I was in a call with them, and I just streamed my screen going through CompCon, and it was really fun hearing a bunch of people all collectively go like, "Stop, stop! I can only nut so much, please. This is too cool."
CompCon's really good.
It is so dope. It like the system is real fun. The art is great. I adore the artist. He is so cool.
Did they release another book?
I think they did recently. There's some more content apparently.
I know they released one not too long ago.
I know it was mentioned recently. I think Devin said that there's some new stuff for Lancer.
Let me check my content manager.
I had to re-download some, but like when I was going through it last, I didn't notice any major new content. But it is like Lancer's just
no big
great.
core books at the moment.
No, it's like
I do
little
love how
stuff.
they're constantly updating the community content though.
Yes, it's very cool. They Lancer is also just a good community. Like I like the Lancer community a lot. They're always really fun people. It's great coming across like full Lancer fans whenever you find them.
Yeah, since we last played, Dustgrave released. That one was
Yeah.
like
Oh,
6 months ago, I think.
there's also the other the Rayleigh variant they dropped, which looks so cool. Oh my god, I'm so into it.
Oh yeah, that's from Dustgrave.
Oh
The
hell yeah,
Stortebeker.
I want it.
Yeah, a couple
they
new
can
core
afford-
bonuses and talents.
Yeah, exactly. They can. I think just one new core bonus though. That's at least what Devin said earlier
Yeah.
today. Yeah, I really like how accessible they make just getting into Lancer. It's really cool. I'm happy they have the money and the time to be able to keep producing content for people and release a lot of it for free. Because a lot of companies, I worry whenever they like release a bunch of stuff for free, like, no, you gotta make money somehow. You deserve to be paid for your work. But to be fair,
Yeah.
the actual Lancer books, owning them is worth it because they're very cool.
I am getting the physical copy because they're teaming up with Dark Horse to produce physical book. And I'm going to get one because it's Lancer and I think it deserves my money.
It really deserves like funding. They're all very cool people. I'm curious about their other game, Icon. I want to read through it.
Yeah, I Icon's another one that I definitely want to check in on at some point in the future, for sure. So many games. But yeah, so this is like the core of what I was talking about earlier is what we do here on the channel more than most other people in the Pathfinder space anyway. I can't say in the space in general. There's a lot of people who do a lot of good general TTRPG stuff, and they're actually doing pretty well, actually. Thaumaivore and all kinds of different channels have made a significant channel size through just variety tabletop. It's a slow burn, you know. It's something that you have to just make a bunch of stuff, and then over time people will watch it and your channel will grow. Lancer rules. It does. It's very good.
So fucking cool. It is. I think it's definitely in my top tabletop games list.
Me too. It
is so fun.
I'm actually excited to get into Vampire. Vampire's gonna have a lot of
Same.
fun stuff. I think the only bad part about Vampire is I think the draw of Vampire is more the lore than anything. And I just don't have the time to learn a whole new lore. But I'll make some Vampire content as well as we play. I've been brushing up again to get ready for the new season, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Oh my god, the Magnus Archive is also having a TTRPG coming out soon.
True, I'm curious, and yeah, we were talking about like what our character concepts were gonna be. I've actually shifted around Ted a bit, how far I want to go for him. To where it depends on how much you're playing with humanity loss this campaign, like mini campaign as well. but primarily I'm going less like, I guess, innocent, more like immature, childish kind of character, and more of like the man who has to listen to everything around him talking all the time, and leaning more into the idea, because I've been doing some lore on Malkavians and how the Madness Network works, and how actually primarily most of the times when he's hearing voices,
Yeah.
it's not always the Madness Network. A lot of times it's just him being insane. It's very I like Malkavians so much in Vampire. They're so cool. There's so much cool abilities. I'm still not good at this when I'm left alone. Uh yeah, the new Lancer stuff I'm gonna also have to look at, because every once in a while I just see a tweet of something and I'm like, oh, that is either very cool fan content or official rules. Then I'm like, I don't know which one's which. I do my best to follow tabletop news, but it's not what I consume a lot on Twitter or YouTube, so it's not always promoted. So then I just have to kind of hear it from other people. I mean, my mechs that I ran for our one shots, I had a Rayleigh with just 4 hand cannons and a rifle named Texas Red. And because all I want my Rayleigh to be is I want as many hand cannons as you can. Lancer tier list ain't happening, my man. I'd have to pay somebody to make it at this point. I don't care anymore. It's so long ago. I don't care. I don't give a shit about its release.
I warned you.
Yeah, if anything, I've been too like playing around with this idea of having Saturday be a dedicated, just like whatever the fuck idea I want. Just like release a little more regularly with Saturdays, because it's a perfect time to throw a piece of content. But then it's just like playing around with other weird styles. One I'm 100% going to make down the line is I'm going to make some form of video on Dead by Daylight and all the killers and how they play and like what I think of them, because I've been putting a lot of fucking work into getting very good as all of them. And so I deserve some growth from it, like YouTube wise.
Fair. And
And
yeah,
like
actually,
I've made my tier list, my initial thoughts, and now I can't wait for it to change, because it already has changed a little bit as I've been playing more.
and yeah, Operation Solstice Rain actually had come out when we were doing our one shot. Actually, you guys played on one of the maps because I bought the book,
Oh,
or a couple of the
nice.
maps actually, I think. So,
Man, actually, I'm actually kind of sad. I just got reminded when you mentioned on the maps that Vampire doesn't have any really cool foundry tools.
yeah, well, actually, because Vampire's not like combat is not a huge thing in Vampire. And when it is, it's more cinematic and more like narrative than it is like grid based. So there's just not a lot
Yeah,
of tools to help with something like that. It's like Fabula Ultima.
yeah. It's like I'm not surprised, but I'm still sad because I like the cool foundry tools. It's the part of foundry I really like.
Yeah, unfortunately that's just the problem with Foundry is it is predominantly pushed by the fan base with some instances otherwise like D&D and Pathfinder I think have invested in it, but they're also corporations. I can like that's the thing about like that's why I had my video last week talking about why we need companies like WotC. You need companies that can just dump money out to make stuff because they think it's a good investment. Because most TTRPG companies can't afford it. Plain and simple. For right now. For right now. The more people who get into the space, the more likely more people will see it. So it's I don't know. That's one big thing I want to do with the channel. I definitely need to discover a type of content that can make TTRPGs more interesting to talk about to general audiences, not just TTRPG players. Because that's because I want to help that draw, you know. And right now it's just hard. It's like when the channel gets bigger and I start having more income to do more things, that's when I'll do it. I feel like channels like Critical Role or Dimension 20 are going to really start helping with that, especially as the disillusionments that's coming with 5th edition. D&D is kind of growing more and more.
Yeah, true. I'm happy that other games are getting their chance in the spotlight, especially with actual big live play content. They deserve some fun shit, but that's not 5th edition D&D.
Yeah, that's I mean I can't wait for Daggerheart to release so we can see more on that. I'm going to do content on Daggerheart when it comes out, obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Fabula Ultima's been doing really well, so I'd like to see more stuff of that coming out. We're gonna see. There's a lot of content on the horizon. There's a lot of work on my horizon. Next month is gonna be busy. The holiday season for me is gonna be super busy. Because pretty much I just have archetype content, class content, build content, Lancer content. Gonna get to full weeks. I've been missing my Wednesday scheduled video days, and it's mostly because Wednesday just turns into chore day. Because it's Suzanne's day off, and that's usually when we do like a lot of our shopping. And like today, hey Drigluck, thanks for the follow. Hopefully you also subbed on YouTube. We also got a cat today. That's been my big thing. So
Man, it is it's interesting. I can't relate at all because I just kind of make a video on whatever I want to talk about in Warhammer or something else if I think of an idea that might be more fun. I want to get back into making more of the bigger, higher effort content because I love working on something really big behind the scenes. It's real fun. I just need to get get the work hit. The other thing I need to keep doing is I need to do the iceberg. I need to finish more of it because my part 1 keeps doing well. People want it. I just cannot make it all in one. I do not have the time for all the research. If YouTube was my full-time job, I could afford to just sit down and make a full iceberg.
I've been thinking about Pathfinder icebergs, honestly.
I feel like you'd be pretty good at putting it together if there's not a good one already made. Because the fun of it is when you have like somebody who is, hey, I personally know a lot of this, so I can work with it.
Yeah. My problem is like icebergs feel more lore based.
It's lore and community. So a good chunk of it would be like fan content, like if there's any big fan memes, fan speculation, maybe just something like a character that got really big and is like super popular in the fan community. But it kind of treads that line, yeah. And yeah,
And
you
that's
don't
the
do
part
lore
I'm
stuff.
just not super connected to, is the lore or the fan community side, honestly.
There is not enough blood for the Blood God. All blood that's spilled for him, still not enough. Much like the fact that there is not enough skulls for the Skull Throne. They must always have more skulls.
Can we also do Candela Obscura? I mean, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Is Candela Obscura out now? That might be a decent one-shot for Halloween.
Oh, 100%. I'd have to watch from the sideline.
There's a quick start guide. It's currently out. using the new Illuminated Worlds system. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a quick start guide, right? Maybe we'll do that for maybe we'll do that. Play around with that for a session. I can see it. Have a favorite pick for the god being removed. We talked about this before. I don't think Alex's opinion has changed.
Nope. My opinion has not shifted. I also really love how everyone we ask has a different answer. It's so
Yeah.
fun. Everyone has a different answer with different reasoning.
I love how is it Luis? Yeah, Luis Loza it has been memeing about everyone for it. Oh, that's a great meme. Oh goodness,
So,
I'm stealing this meme.
hell yeah.
Copy image. It's going in the Discord. So if you're not in our Discord already, we do have a Discord linked in the description or below on Twitch, where we share all things tabletop, including memes. I love this meme already.
No free archetype.
No free archetype.
It's very, yeah, because you should do free archetype, by the way.
Exactly.
Everyone should. It doesn't hurt your game. It just makes characters a little more fun. My opinion on the gods, for those who have not heard it, is I believe the god that will die is Nethys, because I believe the remaster and the whole god event thing is going to be also their attempt to revamp some back-end stuff. So with Nethys dying, they'll up at the same time be like, oh, by the way, Archive of Nethys in our Pathfinder site is being upgraded and changed. That's my opinion.
I don't agree with it, but it's an opinion. People
Yeah,
have shown
I don't
interest
agree.
in it.
I don't agree with what god you think is gonna die. I don't
Do you
agree.
even remember what I said before?
No, I just know I don't agree because it's not Nethys. If you said it was Nethys, then I would be saying that.
Serenade, I
just
think's a
don't agree.
really good candidate.
They're
I
killing one, not riding them out of cannon. They're dying, being taken out back and shot.
no, yeah, the god for lore reasons is dying.
I know Saren Ray's in Critical Role, but I don't agree that they're gonna die because it's not Nethys.
Because it's not Nethys.
Yes,
Plain and
it's not my
simple.
opinion, so I don't agree.
Torag was my guess because they keep releasing dwarf content. And I think removing like a whole Ancestry's god is a huge thing. But I don't think it's actually going to be Torag now, considering essentially what the War of the Immortals is the power vacuum created by the loss of a god. And it's not going to be much of a power vacuum if it's like an ancestry related god, right? Because otherwise it'd just be all dwarves, all dwarven deities or demigods fighting for the position of Torag. So I don't think it's going to be Torag. It has to be a god who's focused on a rather important theme in the setting.
Like magic? The god of magic dying is pretty big.
Yeah, but it feels too much like Mystra, but Pathfinder.
That's why they're killing Nethys. Because legal reasons. You just gave me more stuff. Thank you.
No, because Nethys isn't Mystra.
Yeah, but they want
They're
to make
just
sure
copying
there's no ties.
Wizards' homework at that point.
They want to make sure there's no ties, so they're killing Nethys. But this time, he doesn't come back.
Oh, they did the... No, I haven't. Good catch, Dead Phoenix.
I would be actually upset if they
Pathfinder
killed
2E.
Caden Colleen. He's too cool. I would riot if he dies. That's fucked up. You can't kill him.
Paizo blog. Wrap up blog. Here we go. Show post. All right. So this is, you know what? Now I'll just talk about it. So Animus feedback. Most of you rate it as being moderately complicated, but there is also overwhelming support for almost all major class features. As such, we're likely to keep the main chassis with a few targeted areas of improvement. Here's what might be changing. Practices. Folks have generally liked all the individual pieces of the Animus, but noted that it's very complicated. Practices are one area where I think we might be able to trim out some of the unnecessary complexity and tighten up the chassis. There are a couple directions we might go here, but the one I'm currently eyeing most closely is removing the practices entirely, standardizing the proficiency progression of the class, and replacing practices with invocations, unique prayers that speak to each individual Animus communes with their apparitions. This should likely be a place. Yeah, so that was kind of one of the things, and I kind of agree, is because there was two practices that were kind of like, one felt better than the other, but simultaneously the other one was good at like level 8 when you got a feat for that practice specifically. See, vessel spells. Triple casting the same vessel spell is something a lot of you noted as leading to degenerative play loops, and that was frankly something we had always intended to put tighter limitations on. For the final version, we're looking to put something stricter limitations in place who focus on single apparition are more encouraged to use their spell slots, and Animus who change rapidly between different apparitions are more strongly to use their vessel spells. Okay. That makes sense. Spellcasting, which was split between Prepare and Spontaneous, was extremely popular with... Wow! I'm actually surprised by that. So they're going to keep their split spellcasting with half Prepared, half Spontaneous. Okay. Apparitions. We're likely to significantly expand the number of apparitions compared to those we used in the playtest. We are very focused on testing out specific functions. So, yay, more apparitions. That's cool. So, that's Animus cool. Boils down to removing practices. They were really clunky. Putting more limitations on vessel spells, which are their focus spells. Spellcasting staying the same. And more apparitions. So, cool. Exemplar. As always, let's see. Many of you found the core mechanic of moving your divine spark that focuses the power into various sacred icons to be fun, fresh take on the martial character. So let's dig a bit deeper. Let's see. Rarity and tone. So it's gonna stay being a rare class, which is perfectly fine.
Totally fine.
Power spikes. Let's see. To go with the bombastic tone, the Exemplar was intended to have a pretty dynamic combat loop with their defenses and offenses fluctuating between highs and lows. While the idea of dynamically changing your focus between offense and defense is very popular, we also think we might want to ensure that it isn't too swingy, so we're stable. Okay, so now they're not swinging wildly from like, I have lots of defenses to I use my weapon and now I'm very vulnerable to attack since they only got light armor proficiency, which is fair. Domain spells. Okay, interesting. People thought they were useful, but also they're a little boring, which makes sense since they're shared with other classes. No, they're removing domains.
Oh.
Sad.
Damn.
But, okay, here's an interesting thing. But the domains are being moved into their own special theme to be in an archetype later in the book that thematically aligns the exemplars whole reach into the heavens and seize godhood. So that's cool.
And because they're doing that removal, they're making epithets a lot bigger of a deal.
Yeah. But what you know what I heard? Archetype.
Yeah. New archetype for you.
More
New
archetypes.
Archetype. Yeah.
Range developments was such a it was such a letdown because there's one new archetype and it was just the multi-class for Kineticus. It was so sad. Epithet recasting. A lot of you seem to like using epithets to share your character's story, and in fact, many people want to see an even bigger part of the class with the removal of spells. So they're just expanding and nothing specific. But that's interesting. I think the epithets are really cool. Making your story is always a fun part. More. Yes, there will be more. We know that there is not the widest selection of icon types for the playtest. What are you talking about? There were so many icons. Those videos I made were like an hour long. More shades like be more niche. Yes, there'll be unarmed attack exemplars in the final. However, would I do my Bull of Heaven exemplar without it? And yes, there'd be a greater variety of icon and epithet choices. However, would I do my Demeter, the Turbulent Pinwheel of Seasons Change exemplar as well? So that aligns with a lot of my expectations, honestly. The Animist is good. People loved the idea of Animist, but it was a little clunky, which I agreed with. And Exemplar was pretty much fine. The domain spells being taken out was tragic, but I am glad that's being moved to an archetype. So that, you know what, is a sacrifice I'm willing to take, because I think an archetype based around domains is really cool. So I'll definitely take that rather than just having Exemplar have domains. So yeah, but mostly just Exemplar, just people wanted more. There's still that broken ability that lets them make an attack on every enemy on the battlefield at full multi-attack penalty. So we'll see how that gets fixed.
Oh yeah, true. I forgot about that.
So yeah, but that is just one feature, so I'm sure it got mentioned. But yeah, that's cool. Good catch there, Dead Phoenix. So yeah, I'm excited. The new Divine stuff, I'm really looking for Divinity stuff. And I don't know, with alignments kind of being removed, you know what I want to see? More Celestial-based enemy types that you're likely to encounter.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it super weighted towards you fight devils, demons, and daemons because they're evil, obviously, and you rarely fight devas or anything because they're good. And while that I think will still stay mostly the same, I want, like, give me more enemies that are kind of like the chaotic good, like, they come in and just, like, Inquisition, right? Like, they come in and just with no reservation fuck shit up to the point that it's arguable whether it's good anymore.
Yeah, like, I think it's always fun when angels are also kind of fucked up in their own way. They're not just like benevolent beings. It's fun when an angel's like, they're really good and like to the letter good. And so things are like, yeah, I mean, in the long run, in a couple hundred years, this might have a positive act, but you're still destroying a village or something, you know?
Well, it's kind of like the Inquisition in Warhammer, right? In the end, the Inquisition is one of the reasons why, like, demons aren't as widespread out amongst human civilizations. But they also just murder everyone for literally anything. So
yeah, like, to the point where there is in the history of the Inquisition a single member who has been kicked out for going too far, and it's because he kept blowing up planets to fight the Nids. He's just like, if I kill all the planets in front of them, then they'll starve. And everyone's like, that's too far. But then, like, yeah, we culled the entire population, killed a bunch of them, and also just sterilized them so they can't, like, spread anything because the demon invasion happened. Also, by the way, we're going to order this Space Marine chapter to fire on another Space Marine chapter. Like,
Yeah.
they're fucked up. You can understand the reason, though. Like, you can see, like, I get it, but you're still a dickhead.
And that's what I want to see, right? I
I
want
want
to
to see that too.
see
That's a good
stuff like
point.
that. Yeah, no one expects the Celestial Inquisition. I love that line. That's very good. It's oh no, so with the whole god dying thing, whatever their theme precepts are, it's gonna be filled again. Like that's how godhood works in the setting in general. Is whenever a god of a specific thing dies, those themes kind of either get absorbed by other gods or replaced by a new deity, which is essentially what's going to happen. And you know, the gods are way cooler than I gave credit for. At the end of Riptide, we learned more about Irori. And the fact that Irori, which is like the monk god in a sense, is an example of Shiva, pretty much. Defeated all 1,000 gods, godlike entities to become the master of masters.
That's pretty dope.
There's literally no god who's kicked more god ass than Irori, which I think is really cool.
That's sick. That is a good question. What'll happen with the kobolds and their draconic scions with the new dragon types?
That's very interesting. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that can be had with it. I think this whole change to the dragons, I think, is one of the best parts to come from this divorce from all D&D like concepts. Because
Agreed.
now we're just going to get anything dragon related is just going to get way more varied and interesting.
Significantly more. I remember when you were telling me about all the new dragon types. They sound so dope.
They're really cool. And I
Like,
know
it
they're
just gives
very
you more
proud of
options.
them, so.
Yeah, deservedly. Because, like, there's so many new options for more dragons, you know? Because it's like you have the color dragons and metallic dragons. There's only so many colors. There's only so many metals. You add up, like, magic, it's like, oh, we got a lot of shit we can do.
I think it'll be really, really fun. And Silver, you don't have to worry about it. The good evil thing is still a thing. It's just now based. It's now, if anything, more restrictive because entities of particular alignments will just have strong edicts that they have to follow. It's no longer
a refutation of your idea of angels doing fucked up things. Not like the good and evil being removed from the game.
Well, I mean, again, that's just like taking things to the extreme. It's good, but it's not necessarily good for all kind of stuff. And even then, I mentioned chaotic good, so that was still kind of along the lines of how alignment was before.
I just want to be able to punch any form of divine being, be it angel or demon. I want to fight them all. I want to kick all their asses. I played a lot of Devil May Cry. I played a lot of Bayonetta. I just want to beat their ass in a cool way. So I also agree, because more angel enemies means more chances to do that.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, that's fair. I think
God, that's so dope. Hellfire
like
Dragon.
It's better than just the chromatic or metallic. Even though I do love chromatic and metallic dragons, don't get me wrong. I do genuinely enjoy the idea of dragons in that scale because they felt like something that could actually be a thing in a sense. It does seem to speak more about like what the dragon is based on what it is. A mirage dragon, is a tricky dragon, where like before green dragons were the tricky dragons, but it's like, how would you know? they were green.
Yeah, how is green the tricky color?
Right.
I get red with fire. That makes sense. I get it. Like, I understand it to the point of, like, color dictating your breath. It's like, yeah, fair enough. I get that. Uh, though, I guess just I think this is a chance for tabletop, like, or just I guess like D&D Pathfinder, the style of fantasy, for me to care about dragons. I've always been like dragons are neat. I like kind of like when they show up, but I've never been like fuck yeah dragons woo. I'm not like
Yeah.
that. These are really cool dragon concepts because to be honest, the only real dragon types I like are the dragons in Discworld. I like how they operate in Discworld because it's fun. Just that dragons are actually really tiny and dumb creatures because all their brain power is to regulating the chemical process that is their breath. Because if they make the wrong hiccup, they'll just explode. Or
Well,
the
you know
fact
what,
that just most dragons are just falling. They can't actually fly. They just fall very fast.
Oh, you know what, Agsilver? The fun thing is if you're still not fighting angels if you're a good character or whatever. Deva will still be Deva. Like we're talking more on the celestial spectrum of entities. There's more than one type of angel, for instance.
Like, because I mean, the other aspect I always view it in is the concept I like to play around in. Because I my big thing, if anyone here hasn't noticed, is I really like hyper religious settings and themes because it's really fun. I like playing around in that kind of theme. You can have like divine, like holy characters and stuff, but then their concept of morality is just on a celestial scale, not on a mortal scale. Because why would they attribute anything to mortal morality? They don't live on our time frame, they don't live in our heads. They have their own thing going on with a grand picture, which then can operate having celestial characters and like monsters and stuff doing in their eyes purely good acts. To us, in a lot of shorter time frame, in like just different perspective, it's like that's evil. But then like they could lay it out in their perspective, like no, this is why it's a good action. That it leads to ideas of having it be opposed. Having a creature type locked into specifically one theme without any wiggle room kind of just means they sit there and get underused in the chances where you're not doing that. Because I would love just more creature types, more stuff for DMs to play with.
Yeah, and I mean that's literally what I just said earlier.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we never fight any celestial creatures almost ever. So
I want to deal with like, because also, what if it's just celestial creatures of like a god turf war? What if it's like two gods? They might be good gods, but they're like directly opposed with what they want out of the world. So then maybe their servants are fighting each other, and then the players get caught up in it.
yeah, and I mean there's a bunch of things. Would such a creature be able to be reasoned with? I mean, maybe, maybe not. Like it sounds like you just have a very specific type of creature in mind. But you're not opening your mind up to situations, right? You're overgeneralizing. For instance, so here's a really good example. A seal is weakening on a demon lord, right? And the angels have a specific creed to make sure the seal is never broken, no matter what, for no reason. But the seal is weakening; it's going to come, and the mortals are like, okay, we've gone out, we've had our quest, we've made this weapon, we need to kill this god before it's a problem for later generations. So we need to break the seal to kill the god. And then the angels step in and stop them. Like, nothing can break the seal, no matter what. Not for any reason. We can't leave it in mortal hands to do this, you know. So that's a situation where even a good angel of the best of angels could be obstinate against a goal that might have a better good, but it's also risky. You know, if the demon lord gets away, then it's chaos for everyone.
Yeah, it's like there's ideas like that, and then yeah, I agree with Andrew. Like I really like playing with the concept of taking an extreme of morality. Like I said, like going chaotic good, taking that extreme of like this is so extremely good that it kind of wraps around to being an evil act, but it's just like playing with morality on different scales. The idea of if I do this horrific thing in 1,000 years time, this is the right decision for the best amount of good. On a short term, you're like, that's fucked up that you're doing this. I like
Yeah, it's
playing with
like
that idea. It's really fun.
we need to cull the population, not because there's anything wrong these people have done, but it's just a question of numbers. What's easier to manage, 1% of 1,000 people or 1% of 1 billion people? Less evil will happen when there's less people around, and thus will be easier to manage, right?
Yeah, because it's dealing with. I love it when that happens. Like that specific type of villain shows up, or just antagonist, I guess. I adore it when you're like, I understand your point. Like, God, I get why you're doing this, but you still shouldn't. Like, it's still fucked, but I understand your thought process and can see how you got there and can still view yourself as a good person. Those are my favorites.
And the thing is, this can live in coexistence with exactly what you want, XLV. You can still have the deities of pure good who will do their best for everyone and will always work for the betterment of most. You know, like these two things can be side by side in the same setting. It's literally like supernatural, right? You have like Castiel, who went through an evolution going kind of from one side of the spectrum to the other. In the end, alignment going away doesn't change like edicts or anathema.
No.
It like the just because there's no good doesn't mean angels won't be under the do no harm, protect the world from evil, like strict laws that like what a champion might take as like their creed is like to always do these things. Celestial entities have no choice. Champions at least can make the choice to break their oath if they deem it necessary. Celestial entities cannot for any reason.
Literally hardwired to be a specific way.
And honestly, it just only makes sense that you have conflicting morals because morals are social constructs. And so what's good for society changes from society to society. There's generals that stay mostly the same, but like the values of individual things changes.
Yeah, there's the ones that are like hardwired into brain evolutionary because yeah, killing people is a bad thing to do for your species. Like things like that. That's just kind of an innate. That's bad. And then there's the societal ones that are built around wherever you are, like however you're raised.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like Warhammer, again, the Inquisition. What they do predominantly works. Is
It
it the
works pretty
most
well.
efficient? Probably not.
No, they got too much wiggle room to the point where there's like so much infighting in their organization because of the split between radicals and puritanical inquisitors. Uh, there's like they set it up. They do a lot of good things on the grand scale,
On the grand
on
scale.
the individual level. On like on one hand, blowing up your planet that is being invaded by orcs kind of sucks if you're on the planet. If you're the next planet over, though, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Because once orc fungus gets in your planet, it ain't leaving. You're always going to have orcs. So, like, you kind of just gotta. There's that quote for a reason of, like, the biggest mistake I've ever made in my career is not ordering an exterminatus on an orc invaded planet. It's like, that is so fair.
What if a campaign's plot puts a cleric champion or witch at odds with angels or cultists of their own god patron? You know what that's called?
Cool.
Yeah, that's called conflict.
That's a story.
That's literally what narratives are built on.
That's also partially based on what characters you pick, the plot to Baldur's Gate 3. Because if you're playing with Shadowheart or as Shadowheart, a big thing is, do you agree with what her god is telling her to do? And it's very cool. Her arc is one of my favorites in that game.
And the thing is, that can already happen.
It can already happen. It doesn't
You
like.
literally,
I mean,
you literally have gods of every kind of theme out there. A cleric, champion, or witch of those entities already exist.
also it depends too, because you can even tell the story of like maybe the god has a bunch of different tenets that some sects have kind of built directly around. I've played with this in one of my characters. I had a paladin of Tyr that I built up the idea of which parts do you value. Maybe parts of Tyr, like certain churches of Tyr, like temples, revere more the justice side. Like, do you go more lawful or do you do more benevolent good? Which side do you lean on? If a god has very manipulatable tenets, maybe you don't have to rebel against the god itself, but you can rebel against like the specific order that your character's from. That's just it's building conflict into your backstory in a cool way. Because fighting against what your god is, like realizing, oh my god's kind of fucked. It's just kind of cool. It's fun. Because, you know, a lot of times you're brought up a specific way, you're raised with certain beliefs, and then you realize later, these are stupid. I don't agree with these.
Well, and again, it's just like, in the end, the world is not black and white. It's always a grayscale. So even the most good of entities, the more extreme they are, the more they force that black-white narrative, the more grayscale stuff gets in the way.
Yeah.
Not one to ask on religious stuff personally, but
I've been raised very religious. I really like delving into religious topics because of my upbringing. And I also just that's my preferred story methods. I really like just playing with religious themes. So I guess I'm pretty good to talk about it, I guess.
Well, I mean, he said like the fantasy Protestant Reformation, which I know nothing about and cannot speak on.
I mean, like kinda if you're trying to do like a big like actual religious movement, I guess, but also it doesn't have to be that grand scale. Cuz I mean, if it's like a full on like schism in the church, that's a different scale. If you or like at the very least you could just have an interpersonal thing going on, because just having that realization that a mission your deity put you on is an inherently bad one is a fun story to grapple with, of like your character's morality being tied up against your character's tenets is a very fun thing to hit, specifically when the mission is tied in from the deity. So you're like, why are you ordering me to do this? This goes against our beliefs. And so like working with that's fun. It just it depends on the story you want to tell with your own character.
I'm with that one guy. I want to see the Celestial Hydras. That sounds
Oh, that
sick as
sounds
fuck.
awesome! Fuck yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, like specifically with the angel designs, like with all the wheels and eyeballs and shit. Just have like many forms. Gotta be awesome. Yeah, like if you want to play Martin Luther of your tabletop game, you can.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing, right? Is just like even when alignment was a thing, it was still never so bulletproof. Because like, what's the difference between true like lawful good or neutral good? Right.
Yeah.
There was always conflict. So. But yeah, so we got some fun stuff on the horizon. We have new videos. Biblically accurate angels are cool. I agree.
They're very cool.
I also want to stab one in its many eyes.
I do too. I want to fight one. I want to fight a lot.
I want to see how
those
it fights.
creatures.
I think more than anything.
I want to fight a lot of the creatures named in like the Bible and especially some of the Gnostic texts, because they're horrifying and ridiculous, and good lord, they're spooky. I am so sad they all got like kind of washed down to people with wings because like nah, they're creepy and very interesting.
It's a bit more of a scale than it is a 7-9 boxes. Exactly, and that's why removing it doesn't matter, because it was a scale to begin with. The boxes didn't mean anything.
Yeah, they don't mean anything to me. I usually am like, they're fucking this
I
one,
mean,
I guess.
I like it when it comes to informing character choice. I like whenever I make an NPC, I could just slap down an alignment on them, and it gives me a general sense on how to play that character.
Yeah.
Without it, though, it just I just now decide what kind of character they are. You know.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing of it is a tool that some people find helpful. I have never found it helpful, so I don't care that it's being taken out. But like very understandable for the tools that it's used for. Just everyone kind of approaches it differently with however you approach character creation or NPC creation. It all depends on what your process is.
And I will stand by the idea that it's still good. I still like the alignment system, and you can still use it even in the way that Pathfinder is being changed. If you looking at a particular edict and framing it in that spectrum makes it easier for you, then go for it. It still is helpful. It's just now things just don't have a generalized box, and now they just have more of a code to follow, which I think is better, honestly.
I think it'll just make some players kind of, I guess it's another tool for built into the system that kind of forces people to make interesting characters. Where I think that there's some issues that pop up when it comes to like alignment. I think that there's some people who take it in certain directions, but on the other hand, there are people who take it in like actually using it to dictate their character's morality, or even like use it to help design. Like okay, I'm gonna build around this morality. How am I going to make the character function? There are those like benefits and downsides, and then me of like nothing I do changes with this removal. However, if it's like a direct written tenets I have to follow, okay, then how do you play your character to follow those tenets? That's cool. I like that. I love the Pathfinder classes that force you to make something interesting. It's always very fun.
Oh, the best part, Axelver, is you can think what you want. No one can tell you otherwise. We can only tell you why we prefer a different way. So, you know, there's not really a truth in the matter, because there's always situations where what you view as being objectively true is oftentimes less clear than it should be. So
and if it's coming down to tabletop, as long as you're having fun at your tables every time you play, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, and keeping alignment in the game doesn't change anything. The remaster doesn't really care about it all too much.
Yeah.
So go ham, I suppose. But that is going to be it for us today. A pretty general chat overall. Answered some questions on the remaster. There will be tons of content coming out on the remaster when it comes out. I'll be very likely to get a early copy of the book. And we'll have videos ready for that. Be redoing all the class videos. Just for the simple fact that Remaster is just going to make those much more searchable. And then I'll probably even add that to my archetype videos post Remaster. But there's still going to be stuff coming up. Yeah, the Qianxia book is...
Yeah.
It got postponed a little bit, but I'm very excited to see more on it as well. I really do. I love their world books. I think they're really good. If we had not been financially crippled most of the year, there's so many books I would have purchased, but we just have not had the funds in order to do so. So...
Wait, if there's a War of the Immortals spoiler, then maybe they'll talk about what god is dying, maybe?
No.
Oh.
I know for a fact they're not. One, because the person who's in charge of it is currently on vacation.
Fair, very fair. What a better time though to release it because he's not looking.
I see. Mythic reveal, maybe. Mythic
Ooh.
levels would be fun.
Where
There
that
has been
happens,
some
post it in the
talk on
Discord.
it, so I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Who knows? We are getting ever closer. We are almost 1 month away from the remaster release. It'll be less than a month from next week. So, if you have a build, you can drop it off in our Discord, linked in the description or below on Twitch. You can join us, and we have a whole chat for builds, Pathfinder 2E builds. So post it there, and oftentimes I'll look at it.
Oh, we do. Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
we
No.
had a whole a whole stream based on looking at our favorite builds from that very channel.
No, I forgot a long ass time ago. I muted it because of how active it was, and I was like, I don't care about builds. I don't do builds.
We had the weed mage or whatever that you
Did we had some very cool builds, but I muted the channel a fuck off long time ago when it was really active, and I was like, I'm getting pinged so much, and I don't look at builds. I don't care about build content that much. As long as just like concept and going through, I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea. Maybe I'll use that, and then I don't read it. It's not. I don't make builds. It's not my thing.
So yeah, check it out there. I also I said this at the beginning of the year and I just never got to it. To be fair, this has been a really rough year for me personally. But I do want to do more Discord related content at some point. Like, I don't know what, honestly speaking, but I do want to do more interactions with the Discord. And I mean, like, we saw people who are constantly looking for games. We saw people who are talking about builds, talking about their characters, talking about all kinds of stuff. The Discord's honestly been getting popping more and more off. Now we're over 200 members.
Hell yeah.
Ranking Lancer builds video. Ooh.
Mm.
Lancer, that's a good idea, honestly. Because Lancer builds can be really fun. They can be really nutty with how you can mix and match a lot of the systems.
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't done one already, to be completely honest.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, maybe. That'd be a good video, too.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe... sometime soon. Well, maybe not soon. Is weed legal where the weed mage lives?
It better be.
I mean, the guy who made it is from Washington, so yes, technically.
Good. Yeah, so it is legal. And they can live in Space Washington or something.
Space Washington. We're talking about the
Yeah.
weed mage, Alex.
Yeah. If it's at the weed
Fantasy
Lancer,
Washington.
Or
Why are
that.
they in space?
Maybe make the weed Lancer, the weed mech. Just make a hacker mech that disorients everything.
I love the meme of just put space next to anything.
I love it so much.
Space Robert Downey Jr. It's great.
Yeah, just space as a prefix or fantasy as one is so funny consistently. I never get tired of it.
It's a lot of fun.
Space Robert Downey Jr. is so funny. We're just like, yeah, there's just another. He happened again, but this time he was in space.
But yeah, that's actually a genuinely good idea. You know what I would love to do? We don't have any artists on the channel yet, but if we ever get artists, I'd love to do art competitions. Not like, we're gonna use your art, so put it in the competition, we might use it, kind of scummy stuff, but more like give an interesting prompt or just have very interesting character ideas, like Pathfinder character art or Lancer character or mech art or something. Have a competition, rate our favorites, give that person money, don't use their image otherwise, besides maybe a thumbnail. But That I think is a really good idea as well. If we can get some more people like that, maybe oh, perfect idea. You know what? I think we will do in the future a build tournament. We'll get a bunch of people. They'll all make builds, and then we'll have a community vote on which builds win each bracket. And we'll take like the first bracket, we'll take like the top 8, and then the next bracket we'll take the top 4 and top 2, and then the number 1. I think it's a really fun idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So I'll get in the works in that, but we will have a build tournaments on the Discord in the future. So be prepped for that. I think that's a really fun idea. And we'll have a community poll. This will be a pure Discord event. So only people in the Discord will get to vote on which ones are good. And only people in the Discord will get to participate.
Question.
Sure.
Will this be a pure video thing, or will this be like a TableTalk thing where I'm involved? Because it will determine how I approach the situation.
I'm trying to think of the setup, because what I might do is I might make it a weekly thing where it's like every week we go up the bracket, and so they have the week to make builds and then get like essentially at the end of Table Talk we'll talk about who won the bracket.
Okay.
Move them up. Then they'll have until next Monday to make another build, and then vote on it from Monday to Thursday.
Okay. So it is a Table Talk event. Therefore, I'll make a public statement here. I am susceptible to bribes or playing to my biases. I'm very vocal of what I like on Table Talk. If you play to that, I will help you win. There we go. I am not an impartial judge.
Cool story, bro. I did just say earlier that it's going to be a voted on in the
I have a
Discord.
I have a VPN.
Okay. Fair. So, yeah, we'll try that in the near future. You know what? We'll do it after the remaster, because
That's fair.
Then everyone will have that kind of fresh-ish territory, new stuff, new work with some of the classes. And even if you don't use the new classes that are in the remaster, it won't matter, because I'll just say it's remaster in like the clip or whatever. And,
yeah, that's all that matters, that it's called Remaster.
Hey, if we're gonna have a fun event where you all get to have fun, you all have to make me money on YouTube.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's it for me. Anything you want to give us before we head out?
Go check out my channel if you're curious about 40k content or you want to watch that stuff. It's Glue Boy. I put out a video recently of some of the worst places you could live in 40k. Fun topic, fun video. I've been putting out a lot more because I've been sick for a good while, but I'm not anymore, so I can actually work on things. I got a lot of stuff in the works that I'm working on. Next video will be fun because it's my first sponsored content. That'll be pretty sick. But yeah, if you like 40k and you want like more chill, fun vibes for your lore, that's my gig. I don't do the grimdark, edgy, like trying to be in universe tone. That's boring. I deliver lore fun.
Okay. And I'll say as well, if you want to see a video where you just get to live on a giant man in space,
True.
or just live on just some guy in space, that video is doing really well actually today.
It's doing well. It popped off pretty well, much like the other one. Usually, whenever I'm like gearing up for Table Talk, I look and it's boomed. But like, yeah, there is actually a planet that is a giant guy in the fetal position. It is a Slanesh planet. I'm surprised it's not a Nurgle planet, to be completely honest, but you know, it's pretty fun. Oleensis, it's called. Watch the
Yeah,
video if you want me to
alliances.
explain it.
Also, congrats on your Typhus video breaking into your top 10 popular videos.
I am so surprised that it did that well. I am firmly of the camp it's because I was sad and pathetic and sick in the intro and people were wishing me well. So thank you to them for wishing me well. The sentiment means a lot. But on the other hand, thank you for making me more money. Which makes me feel better all around.
I'm feeling healthier already. Keep
Yeah.
doing it. You guys are fixing me.
Keep filling the pocket. Every dollar donated to my channel
We live
makes
in
me
America.
feel
We're
better.
a third world medicine country. Please help us.
I'm not going to the doctor. I don't. They'll poke and prod me and say just sleep more. And I'll be like, cool, man, thanks. They're like, that'll be $1,000, please.
Exactly. Oh God. Anyway, that's gonna be it for us. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
Have a nice night.
Night.
Good night.